I was on the red carpet with Ryan Reynolds, and I literally stood there and I said, I have no idea where my life is going. I don't know how I'm going to make a living, but I'm going to be okay. Overactive Media has Call of Duty as their team. So we used to sponsor Team Ultra. We took their players, did a Pros versus Joes tournament inside Harry Rosen. It was a huge success. Their fans lined up at the Eaton Center to come into a Harry Rosen store to watch that battle.
Be a connector, be a catalyst for creativity.
That's it. The writing is on the wall. Go out, meet new people, and be genuine, connect, and make community. Whichever industry you're in, you can never have too much of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, fans, the ops, whoever you are, welcome back to the Marketing Department podcast. We've got another exciting episode. Wanted to welcome Sharad Mohan, who is a creative entrepreneur.
Thank you.
From Toronto, covering all things marketing, fashion, styling, everything. Like there's so much.
Multi-hyphenate. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah.
So as a creative entrepreneur, like to me, I get it. Creativity, designing, fashion, etc. I know obviously more about your background and all that, but I wanted to understand, what does creative entrepreneurship kind of mean to you, and how did you kind of land on that?
Yeah. So first of all, thanks so much for having me on the podcast. This is my first podcast, so don't judge me, guys. But in answer to your question, I think it's actually a very recent term that I've settled on, because I've been a brand strategist, I've been a brand director.
Yeah.
I've been doing marketing for like over 20 years, from retail to agency life, back to retail, back to big corp, small corp. So it's like you gain a lot of skills along the way. And I figured, now that I'm in this kind of like freelance arena, creative entrepreneur just like felt like a catch-all for a lot of the different verticals that I work in now. So it's an easier way to talk about things versus throwing 20 titles at somebody. And it just felt like more succinct.
Yeah. And I know, like, we're aware of your background. Like, you've been at Nobis. You've done a lot of work with TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival, worked with a lot of dope brands, celebrities, athletes, a lot of top tier talent, both on brand side and now as freelance entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you now have more creative freedom or just creative white space now that you are a freelance, in a freelance type of setup?
Yes and yes. The short answer is 100%. I have way more flexibility because I obviously have the luxury, I would say, to pick and choose my clients, pick and choose my projects, pick and choose. That sometimes is also difficult because, like every entrepreneur out there knows, you're like always wondering what the next gig is going to be and what the next opportunity is going to be. I think what you just said triggers a separate point, which is, I think people who have met me at different phases in my life remember me for those phases. So it's really kind of interesting now that I've come into this like freelance space, in what capacity people know me, right?
Sure, yeah.
Like you mentioned Nobis. Some people know me for being part of the marketing team that launched Saks Fifth Avenue in Canada.
Yeah.
Some people know me from like friggin' 20 years ago when I started off as a stylist and a visual merchandiser.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, 20 years later, they're like, oh, you're a stylist, right? And I'm like, yeah. Even though I've done a breadth of other work along the way. So it's also really been kind of like a beautiful journey to not only reconnect with people, but also see in what capacity they remember me from the work that we've done in past lives. So it's like really kind of interesting.
Yeah. Does that ever bother you in ways?
So in the beginning, it didn't necessarily bother me, but it definitely had me like questioning things. Like the story that I often tell is I left my job and I was a brand director when I left. And I reconnected with an old friend of mine that had literally been out of the country for several years. We met like almost like 8-9 years ago when he used to live in Toronto.
Yeah.
And he came back and we just met up for coffee. And he was like, hey, do you still style? So going back to that point about like, that's what he knew me for back when he was in the city. And I was like, I never stopped. So yes, I'm still a stylist. So he's like, I'm pitching for a gig. If I get it, do you want to style it?
Right.
I said, done.
Yeah.
And that was the first gig I got coming out of being a brand director. So at that moment,
Got it.
I was like, do I publicize this? Do I talk about it? Like, I feel like I had accomplished so much more. And in my mind, the way I framed it was like, I'm beyond styling.
Yeah.
But since then, I have become so comfortable with that, that like, if that's my calling card, like I can't run away from it. I need to embrace it and like celebrate it. And knock on wood, like, you know, the gigs that I've gotten in just the last little while have been predominantly commercial styling, editorial styling, celebrity styling.
Yeah.
So it's kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
But now I just look at it from the perspective of whatever gets me through the door. Like if somebody knows me for X, let that be the conduit. But when I'm in the room, you get to hopefully learn about everything else that I can potentially bring to the table in terms of context. So it's like, it's fun. Yeah.
When
That's
I think
amazing.
about, if I could imagine your portfolio, I could almost imagine it as just like this mosaic of styling, fashion, business, creativity, design, events, experiential, like just so much.
Yeah.
What does it actually look like?
It's exactly that. It's exactly that. I think I've never liked to just pigeonhole myself in one title or one kind of box, for lack of a better word. I think as a creative, you don't like that idea anyway. So you're constantly craving new stimuli, new experiences, and all of that. And not that I planned for it, but I feel like my life has always had this obnoxious habit of throwing me into the deep end. And then I have to figure it out, and I have to learn to swim.
Yeah.
You know? I started like years ago in retail, and then I started a blog, which a lot of people would consider like entrepreneurship. So I started that like almost like, I don't know, like 12, 15 years ago.
Still have the blog?
Not anymore, which is,
Okay.
I guess, that's a whole other story why I don't have it. But like it was,
Could be a podcast now.
it could be, right? Like it could be, but it's
Yeah.
it's kind of like really interesting. Like I started from there. I gave up that entrepreneurial dream because I didn't know how blogs would become monetized, right? Like, and life threw a curveball, and I had to take a day job because I needed the stability, because I was accountable to more than just myself.
Right.
And I couldn't rely on a blog to have that erratic thing. So I moved back into corporate. And then the next thing you know, I've spent like 10 years in corporate. And now I'm back in this like entrepreneurial, like deep end, figuring it out. Like, so it's like, I think my life has just been a sequence of those things. And as much as I would like to hope that I can plan for it, I've just put my hands up and I'm like, this is how my life works. I just need to embrace it and like really dig into the opportunities that are coming when they're coming and make the most of it. And I know my life will figure itself out.
That blog must have been during the Marcus Troy era.
Yeah. So funnily enough, exact same era. So
sure.
Marcus Troy, well, Marcus Troy is Marcus Troy. He's awesome. His work is good, and it's great to see him move from that world into now fine arts and doing all of that kind of stuff, which is awesome. But yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I was the first men's lifestyle blog across Canada. Like,
wow.
I specifically only spoke about men's lifestyle, fashion, art, and culture. And my blog was specifically with the Canadian lens. So if it wasn't accessible in Canada or to Toronto, I never wrote about it. I didn't publicize it.
Wow.
And I think that gave me a unique perspective. And ironically, I will say that having my blog fundamentally changed the course of my life.
Wow.
The people that I know, the networks that I have access to, the opportunities I got are all as a massive consequence of having that blog.
What's stopping you from re-establishing that blog today?
So I think today, looking at the landscape, I look at the validity of my content and whether it is relevant. You know, like when we first started blogging, e-com wasn't as big, accessibility wasn't as big. So there were still those tangible elements of what you could get in this market.
For sure.
All of that is kind of like gone by the wayside. You can get anything, everything, all the time, anytime.
Yeah.
But the question has come up. A lot of people have reminded me of those days, and they're like, oh, you should come back. And I'm figuring out what my narrative around that would be now and how I would approach it.
Right.
Access to fashion is a lot bigger, bolder, and things.
Yeah.
So I think it's not to say that I wouldn't do it. I think for me, it's just about understanding the authentic way in which I can contribute to the landscape rather than just being another voice for the sake of being a voice, which I'm not about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I don't even think that it would be that, like I feel like you have such a huge footprint in the fashion space, the lifestyle space, that like you could very well come out tomorrow and have that credibility right out the gate, right?
Yeah. I think maybe people see me differently than I see myself, which I think is very common.
Yeah.
We're always going to be our biggest critics at the end of the day.
Fair. And I think it's a part of it. Like my best friend, he's very heavily in this space, both as an editor and he pushes me a lot, like to do these things. And I think what I'm learning to practice now more than ever is think less, do more. So being less,
Love that.
being less, being more spontaneous, I think is the way to put it. And I think just letting it be, let it breathe, let it live.
Experimenting too.
Yeah. Right? And I think I've been trying to do a lot of that with my current social platform, just doing more stories, more content, and getting comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And knock on wood, like people resonate with it in their way. And, the small audience that I do have is a loyal one, which is great. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
Good.
Now, you mentioned that you went like from the blogging space, writing, lifestyle, et cetera, to then, quite literally you need a source of income, but still have opportunity to explore your creativity, your values, your passions, and creative design, fashion, styling, et cetera. Now, when you landed on brand side, let's say at Saks or at Nobis, as somebody that's working on the creative end of the spectrum in each of these brands, there's obviously a CFO. There's higher ups that are looking at the bottom line, the ROI on campaigns.
Yeah.
Quite literally, when you are putting a jacket or a coat or styling a model, how do you think about ROI in that sense? When you're concepting, where do you see yourself come into the ROI conversation as like, okay, we need to purchase this set of clothing, or we're going to design this specific set. Yeah. We need to, this particular fabrication for this decor is going to be $10,000, and someone's asking you, hey, is this campaign going to have a positive ROI? How do you integrate ROI into your creative work? Are you actively thinking about it, or are you just like...
I don't know if I'm the right person to answer that, but I think a little bit differently. My creative process isn't led by ROI. It's led by concept, goal, and ambition. And then we integrate other elements into it. It's not to say that I'm like oblivious or dismissive of a brand's needs, wants, and ambitions. So you have to find that overlap. So it's like that Venn diagram. It's like, oh, I'm out here living in Narnia doing whatever my brain desires. This is where the brand is. Now, how do I find that overlap? So ROI, I think when you're a marketer, is a very complicated, process. Because as a marketer, I believe you have to push the narrative beyond its ROI. I think we live in a digital world where people are so obsessed with metrics because brands feel that that's the only way that they can quantify the dollars spent. And I think if you are a marketer that lives just by that as your ethos, you're never going to do anything that is impactful.
Right.
In my opinion. You need to be able to defend your decisions for sure. You need to be able to kind of like bring those elements in. But if you're solely just about the metrics, like you're missing the plot. Like, and you can see that with any of the, like you go to Ad Week and you look at the campaigns that are winning awards, they're not based on budget. They're not based on like
quantifiable.
They were not driven by quantifiable facts. They were driven by emotion. They were driven by culture. They were driven by
recall
moments.
Yeah.
And capitalizing on what's happening in the world or in the city or in the brand. Like, so you look at all of those things and you're like, the case study is there for what works.
Absolutely.
But I think a lot of brands kind of find themselves handcuffed to their own numbers. And I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
Like I've taken a lot. I've been very, very fortunate in my career to work with brands that have given me the flexibility to spread my wings. And I would like to say that I landed more times than I crashed.
For sure.
And that's kind of, you're not gonna hit a home run every single time, but like that's what part of it is. And as a marketer, you kind of need to have that thick skin to be able to take the punches and the wins, like all in kind of the ecosystem of it all.
As you're saying all of this, like last we spoke, you know, you had mentioned your story behind Harry's. Right?
Oh
Harry
yeah,
Rosen.
that was.
And so
fun.
like as you're saying that, you know, like I'm just, that's what I'm thinking about is just like, you know, that. Well, why don't you tell the story? You know, coming from right from your mouth. Like,
oh my God, that was a fun one.
Incredible, yeah, seriously.
Yeah, so I'm obsessive when it comes with when somebody puts a thought in my brain or there's a concept that I want to execute, I will like mull over it for a year.
Yeah.
Like, and this is a prime example of that. So like, this might eat up a little bit of time, but I'll tell you the story. So when I was at this brand, it's Nobis. Like I was at Nobis, and I always knew. And this is like, what year am I in? 2025. So this was like probably, if I'm not mistaken, 2018, yeah, somewhere around then. So I already knew at that stage, like eSports, e-gaming, that's like the future. Like you've got massive audiences, engaged, like play times, Twitch times, all of those things are like astronomical. Like engagement is at a whole other level. And my boss at the time is a gamer. Like he loves that industry.
Yeah.
So we were both talking. I'm like, how do we make these two worlds come together?
Yeah.
Now, how does outerwear fit into the world of e-gaming and esports when majority of that audience is sitting in their bedrooms, like playing the game, right? Like, how do you make that world? But I percolated on it for a year. Fast forward, a couple of things fell into place, and we took advantage of this really amazing opportunity to work with Overactive Media that's in Liberty Village. And we just kind of like created this partnership. You guys can look it up, Google it. Was it a blockbuster partnership like some of my others? No, but do I think that it was probably one of my personal achievements? 100%, because I figured out a way to do something that I felt was next to impossible, bringing those two worlds together.
What was that Venn diagram like? Because you have Overactive Media, eSports.
Yeah.
You've got Harry's.
An outerwear brand, and then Harry's. So what ended up happening, essentially all of that came together. So once we had the partnership in place, Harry's was one of our partners, our distributors. And you know, they're obviously Harry's, they're massive in this country. They're very legitimate. And so when we were in dialogue with them about like, how do we do co-op partnerships and marketing dollars and help promote the brand in their stores. The first thing that they said, their team turned around and said, like, tell us about this esports thingy that you have going on. Because they had obviously seen the announcement of the partnership. And so I was like, shit, like we've got an opportunity. So the Venn diagram was, we had Overactive, we had us that is sold in Harry's, and then we had a Harry's. So what we did was we took over their Eaton Center store and we did a live battle. So Overactive Media has it has Call of Duty as their team.
The Ultra.
So we used to sponsor them, Team Ultra. So basically we took their players, did a Pros versus Joes tournament inside Harry Rosen's. And it was so bizarre, but that's what made it kind of like really cool. And it was a huge success because they publicized it on their channels. Their fans lined up at the Eaton Center to come into a Harry Rosen store to watch and participate in that battle.
And probably a younger audience than what Harry
younger
Rosen.
audience. And like literally the phrase leaving that event was, we've never seen this age group ever be in our store.
Yeah.
which was a huge thing for Harry's rebrand. Like obviously
Yeah.
being the brand that they have been stellar as they are, they're also looking to find that next generation, that aspirational younger audience that's going to start looking at them as the place to shop as they grow into their careers and into their life.
Right.
So they'd never had, like you're talking about like early 20-year-olds,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we had like 100 kids, well, not kids, young adults in their store actively perusing, but also like being part of this like really cool moment. So it was like super fun. And, you know, they seem to have been very thrilled with it. And we were really thrilled with it because it obviously allowed us to solidify our partnership with Harry's while leveraging a relationship that we had kind of curated outside.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
kind of bring those three elements together. So it was super fun.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry,
Sorry, no, go ahead.
I was going to ask, do you have some kind of like a playbook or like a blueprint when you're thinking about collaborations of that sort? And I'm not saying it's like a rinse and repeat,
Yeah.
because it never will.
It never will be.
But is there like a framework, or like, are you looking for cultural insights somewhere? I'm just trying to get at like, what is that collab? Like, if there's a potential collaboration, do you love doing experiential and some sort of sampling, or you know what I mean? Like, are there key elements that have to be within that framework for a collaboration to be successful in your eyes?
I think for a collaboration, any collaboration to be successful, is you just need to first be very transparent and honest about what it is that you want out of it, right? And there are obviously different things for different people. Some people want sales,
Yeah.
right? Hey, we want to partner with Joe Schmo because if we give her a lipstick, we're going to friggin' sell out of that lipstick.
Yeah.
So the ROI is leveraging celebrity for sales.
Yeah.
Then there is leveraging partnership for brand awareness, brand growth, and breaking through into a different audience, a different demographic. So you have to know what you're prioritizing in order to then establish like how you approach any partnership.
Do you find that brands often have that mixed up? And do you find that, you know, these brand managers, for example, like they may not even know what their priority is? How do you kind of step foot into that space then and kind of align them in the direction that you're kind of thinking?
That's a good question. My approach to that has always been about being transparent and honest. And that doesn't mean being aggressive or like dictating what needs to happen.
Right.
So like, I don't have a clear example to give you. I mean, like I don't have a roadmap to that, but I can give you like a case study of what I did with my partnership with Serge.
Right.
Right. So Serge Ibaka, his right-hand man, Jordy, who's a very good friend of mine, like salt of the earth. He's a beautiful human being. I met them almost 5 years prior to me ever joining Nobis, right? Because I styled Serge and Masai for an editorial that I did. And I just happened to keep that relationship in touch, and Jordy and I always kept in touch. So when I joined Nobis, you know, we were just bantering back and forth, and Jordy was like, let's do something. But I sat on that opportunity for almost a year and a half before I actually felt it was the right time to activate.
Right.
And a lot of that has to do with, okay, understanding where my brand is at, where the partner is at, and when is that timing. So like we talked about this when we sat last time, and I said, the Venn diagram there is anybody can do partnerships. Anybody can do marketing. I don't think it is like the most complicated thing in its essence. What makes good marketers, good brand leaders is timing, opportunity, and understanding the market.
Right.
And it's when you bring those elements together, that's when the magic happens.
For sure.
So like me and Serge was like that relationship. It's like I knew Nobis had a particular aesthetic with their product. We had a brand new design director. We were seeing the brand moving in a far more contemporary, modern silhouette style design. Serge is obviously fashion.
Yeah.
So it would have made no sense in year one for me to bring him in. One, I don't think he would have necessarily gravitated towards the brand or seen it be related, like his reflection of what fashion is.
Yeah.
So we had to wait it. And I had no problem waiting. And, you know, when you've got good relationships, you're just like, hey, like sit tight. Like I will find the time.
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah.
And fast forward, we launched a campaign. It was fantastic. It was like we were getting publications writing about the brand that had never written about the brand before.
Yeah.
And that was the catalyst. So, you know, our objective with that partnership was brand awareness, not necessarily sell-through.
Right.
Sell-through was secondary. So brand awareness was like, how do we stop being the underdog and start getting into the main conversation when it came to outerwear? And this was our way of doing it. And there's so many things that kind of like seep into that, right? Like you're talking about opportunity, you're talking about access, you're talking about budgets, like, you know, like all of those things play, and you have to find that perfect, as close to perfect opportunity given all of your parameters.
For sure.
And then you build in that sandbox. And I think that's the fun part of being a marketer. It's like, what is the sandbox? And then how do you maximize every grain to get the most out of it?
I'm really, really curious, like to ask a few other questions about Nobis specifically. Like,
they're going to love this.
Are they?
You guys are going to love this publicity, Nobis. You can send me a few jackets by the end of all of this.
Send us some too. But my question is like, you know, when you're in Harry's, for example, right? Like you're dealing with, you know, Canada Goose. You're dealing with what is it, Montclair, right? And you're up against these like massive brands.
Yeah.
What was that experience like, you know, being the director, the brand director, and like leading that whole kind of, you know, go-to-market strategy? Because you were there early on, right? So what was that like going up against these like big dogs, let's call them, and what was that experience like for you?
I will give kudos to where kudos sits. For me, Montclair is like phenomenal. Because they were the first to understand how dramatically the outerwear industry is shifting.
For sure.
Right? So their diversification, their Genius program, their cultural, and they've been a very cultural brand.
Right.
They've never seen themselves as a purely outerwear brand. They're a cultural fashion brand that does outerwear.
For sure.
Which is a fundamental difference versus like a Goose, which is outerwear first. And then everything else secondary.
Function
right?
first.
Like, because they built themselves on that, and then they got into film and television, and then like, you know, their legacy is what it is. I think competition is always healthy. Like I don't take anything personally. I don't take it personally when competing brands take my ideas and do it. Take our design direction and copy it. So that's the gray area of things I can't talk about, but there are brands that took those things and repurposed them into their own narrative. You just can't. I think you have to be aware of it, but you just are like, I'm focused on my own lane. Like,
for sure.
You know, my means are different, my budgets are different, my opportunities are different, my distribution is different. And yes, there is overlap, but like you sit in a different lane. And seeing what competitors are doing is fantastic because you should be aware so that when opportunities are there to live and learn, you can. But you gotta have your own narrative. You can never do things as a revenge project, or you can never do things as like, you know, what are they doing and we need to jump on that. Like that's a losing battle. Like when you start getting into that tit for tat, you'll never win. And it's not that they're bigger and you're smaller, or you're bigger, they're small. It's just a losing battle because there's no sense of accomplishment, achievement, or end to that.
Right.
And then you can lose your brand identity in that process because now you're just trying to keep up with the Joneses. You wouldn't do that in your personal life. Why would you do that when working at a brand? You know? Use that as healthy competition, but carve your own lane, like find your own identity and kind of like lean into it and dig your heels into that. And I think that's the important part. And people make those ebbs and flows. People get caught up in their emotions, and then they get like, okay. And then you see it in the product. We've seen it in other brands when they've taken silhouettes and from other brands, been called out for it. And then like, you just lost, you know, 5 years of brand equity, brand trust, brand everything. And I'm like, why would you even go down that path? It's just like,
Why
The
didn't anybody
consequence
check
of that
this?
is just not. And there are plenty of ideas, guys. There are plenty of opportunities. The sandbox is big enough for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think you just need to be focused on what you want to bring to the table.
Yeah.
And that's all you can do.
I was watching a podcast recently. It was with Jeff Bezos, right? And someone said to him, I think it was like one of his mentors that said to him, like, Jeff, you have so many ideas, enough for you to bring down Amazon. This is when he worked at Amazon, right? And like, as entrepreneurs, as thought provokers, as people that get paid to think, we always have ideas. You know what I mean? How do you kind of humble yourself sometimes maybe and say, I need to put this one to the side. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's really hard to do sometimes, especially as entrepreneurs, especially as people that want to make it, have that impact that you were talking about. How do you think of that? Again, you have 100 ideas in a day. How do you say, okay, these are the 2 that I'm going to focus on for the next X amount of time?
Whichever one pays the most, probably.
As an entrepreneur, yes, that makes a huge difference. I think ideas, I catalog ideas all the time, all the time. I think editing is so important, and I would like to think I've become a little bit better at it. I think when I was younger, you want to share all your ideas right off the bat, and I think it's a way people validate their own importance in a particular room, in a particular, if I tell them XYZ QRT, then they'll think I'm intelligent, smart, and capable. And as I've gotten older, I've really had to hold my tongue to really understand what is actually being asked of a situation.
Yeah.
Because why am I going to give them this idea when they're here as a brand?
Right.
It's in its
so it's
infancy
ebbs and
or-
flows. It's a difficult question to answer, but I think it comes with experience, knowing how to edit yourself, and not making it about you. I think a part of being a marketer is obviously you are the fly on the wall. So observing, listening is so important, because that then informs what it is that comes out of your mouth.
Right.
And I think a lot of times when people put their ego and I think perhaps I was insecure about my own capabilities when I was younger, that you just feel like you need to have verbal diarrhea in order to equate value, in order to equate your own worth in the room that you're sitting in. And I think for me, I'm a slow learner. It came later in life for me. And, a lot of hardship kind of informed that. A lot of realities of doing projects and then being reality checks for me was a huge thing.
Yeah.
So that's how I've gotten there. And I'm not perfect. I still sometimes have verbal data. That's why I now say creative entrepreneur rather than I'm a this and I'm a that and I can do this and I can do this and I can do that. And I'm like, oh my God, eye roll, please stop. So now it's keep it succinct, and those that are curious will ask more.
Absolutely.
And then you kind of do that. And I think coming in this part of my phase in my career, like I said, now I'm on set as a stylist, if I'm on set. And do I have the ability of producing the entire commercial? Yeah, because I did that for 5 years.
Right.
I put creative teams together. I worked in creative briefs. I did creative direction. I did all of that stuff. However, now I'm very humbled by the fact that if I'm hired to be in a room as a stylist, baby, pick your lane and stay in it. You're good.
Yeah.
And along the way, maybe people take a little bit of interest, so they see something and they'll ask you, great, but I don't need to walk into that room and start flaunting, oh, I used to do this and I did that. And I kind of, no, it's okay, let it be what it needs to be. But I'm there to do my job and make sure first thing and foremost, make sure I do that job well.
Very well.
Right.
Yeah.
And the people that I'm working with know that they can rely on me for what I've been hired to do.
Yeah.
And then if the opportunity presents itself to kind of talk about here and there things, then take it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the learning. And I'm learning. Listen, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
people listening to this probably like, Sharad, you still talk a lot, but that's okay.
No, I think what in one part of your response, you were saying it's things that come with experience,
Yeah.
right? It's like IQ and also EQ, right? To read a person, to know when to talk, know when to suggest new ideas, even knowing when to brainstorm with a potential client, right? Because sometimes what you think, like you said, is a creative session, or you need to kind of oversell yourself a little bit, or kind of overexert to kind of show your place and your experience. There's a time and place for that, right? And it comes with literally experience and just understanding, reading the room, reading the person, et cetera, et cetera. So to that, you've been in the industry for about 20 years, like you said. What was one of the biggest or most tough life lessons within marketing and fashion?
So recently, it's been predominantly like being there to do what I've been hired to do.
Yeah.
I think that is the big part, because I've done so many different things. So sometimes the need to over embellish gets there. And the biggest part over the last 2 years has been just do the work and like not get caught up in this, like, how are people perceiving what you're doing, right? Once I left, I think I had a very toxic relationship with work. It was my qualifier. It was my identity. It gave me self-worth. It gave me all of that. And when I found myself on the other side of that world, it forced me to sit in my own and understand, like, where does my value come from when I don't have a title and I don't have a brand to leverage. I like what I can bring to the table is sheerly my intellect, my energy, and my network, right? Like, I don't have something that I can gift you. I can't, hire you to be an influencer for me tomorrow, like, because I work for a brand or XYZ. So it's like, it really like forced me to kind of like be in my own and find where I find comfort in my own reality.
Yeah.
So I intentionally stopped posting any project that I was working on. Now, some people might say that missed opportunity, missed the boat, but it was something that I just needed to do as a means of complete disconnect of me and work. And now I've slowly started to like I did my Diwali campaign, and I'm super freaking proud of that.
Yeah.
Like,
Saw that, yeah.
that was just very important to me. And it was something I really wanted to reshare, because it was like being Indian, working on a Diwali campaign, having my friends trust me to come on and be a part of their team, doing something that was culturally significant for me and for them, because they're South Asian, was just awesome. And so now I pick and choose what I'm sharing. Like,
Right.
there are maybe 5 other commercials that I've done that I've not shared, not because they aren't good, but now I'm trying to keep my boundaries with where I sit with things.
Right.
And I'm slowly working my way back into it. Like, I don't want to be irrelevant. Like, I do understand the game that needs to be played for people to understand where I am, what I'm doing, and things like that. But now I've just like found a much healthier balance of where life and work live and what I get from each.
Yeah.
So,
And when I interact or see your content, nothing to me screams work.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so
I
like
don't work, guys. No, just joking.
Yeah.
it's just also authentic. It's from your perspective. You're showing friends, colleagues, sometimes the projects that you're working on, but also just you out and about.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes it's about you, even your personal outfits, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're a stylish dude. Like, you're out there, like, and dressing through different influences, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit of everything, but I wouldn't categorize your content or any of your creative assets as like work, life, food. Like, I couldn't put anything into boxes,
Yeah.
which I think is great.
I appreciate that. I think if you scroll down my feed, you will see there is a chunk of it that is literally all my projects,
Yeah.
Right.
right? My campaigns, my partnerships, my this, that, other, blah, blah, blah. And so that I'm glad you say that, because I don't post as often. I don't do as much as I used to. And I don't delete stuff off my feed, but probably my friends would say that like clean your feed, but yeah, there are chunks
Yeah.
of all you just see is things, because that was my mentality. It's like, I need to show that I did this, and I needed to show I did that.
Yeah.
And that was my validating my own worth and existence. And I've tried to now pivot that into like, what just makes me feel good? Like, you know, like, where am I feeling like the energy is just like serving itself? And I'm like, those are the things that I want to share. Mind you, they're curated, like not pretending like they're so raw, but they're definitely more things that that when I look at them, they're more of a memory bank for me rather than external approval from anybody else. So when I look at like these moments that I've shared that sit in my feed are more like my memory bank. Like this is the stuff when I scroll through, I'm like, all right, like that was such a fun day. Yeah. Oh my God, I remember when I did that.
That's awesome.
Like that's kind of where the mind shift is, I guess.
Yeah. Things that you value, things that are important to you.
Yeah. And like, you know, I've had a beautiful October, November where I got to meet, to me, significant South Asian designers, you know, the names of whom have only been in like in conversation, never in reality. So the idea that I got to meet like Sabyasachi, who is like, in my opinion, the godfather of Indian bridal and couture, like he is the OG. And then, you know, a week later or 2 weeks later, meeting Gaurav Gupta, who's a beautiful human being, who's dressed people like Beyonce and Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and you name it.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, shit, like it's amazing, you know? And then doing the Diwali campaign. So it was just like a lot of like genuinely like those things that I've posted in my feed are because they like bring me so much joy. Just like knowing that I was there. Yeah. That's it.
What was, as someone that often lives in that exact same mind frame, not where you are today, but maybe where you were at one point, what did it take you mentally? What did it take for, how do I phrase this? What did it take mentally for you to get through, to get to that point, you know, like where you were like, you know what, that brand isn't my identity. And like, you know, at some point you have imposter syndrome. At some point you've got insecurities and like we're human. We all do. Do you know what I mean? Like whether we all talk about them or not, like we all do. So like, what was that like, phase of life for you? Maybe that kind of got you past that, you know, tipping point.
Oh, it was one moment. It was a flashpoint. Wow. My last year in my previous job was hands down the worst year of my life. The worst. It systematically tried to dismantle everything that I knew about myself. My health was bad. My emotional health was bad. My mental health was bad. Like I was just not in a good place. And it was, without embellishing too much, like it was not a good place for me.
Right.
And so when I left, it's amazing what you already know and how your body reacts. Like, it's so funny. So the day that I left, I felt a physical weight off my shoulder, right? That very day, I had a meeting with a friend, and it was just like a very serendipitous moment, the things we ended up talking about. And that afternoon, I was on the red carpet with Ryan Reynolds.
Wow.
All in one day.
All in one day. And I literally stood there and I said, I have no idea where my life is going. I don't know how I'm going to make a living, where money is going to come from. I have a mortgage. But I literally stood there and I was just like, but I'm going to be okay. And that was my tipping factor.
Wow.
That's
The
incredible.
second thing that literally happened days later was I was in a car accident. I got T-boned when I was making a turn. I got out of the car. We exchanged information. I went to the collision center. I went and hung out at my parents' house. And when I got to my parents' house, I was like talking to them because they know what I've gone through. And I was just like, if this same instance had happened just 5 days earlier, just 5 days earlier, I probably would have had a nervous breakdown on the side of the road. Like I would have been
Right.
inconsolable.
Right.
And the fact that I just had that happen, was fine emotionally, worked through the day, hung out with my parents with a smile on my face. I was just like, I don't know what has happened. But that was just reaffirming that I knew that I was in a much better place
Yeah.
than where I was.
And that you made the right decision.
And
right?
and it was a mutually, like, let me not grandize the fact that like I stormed out the castle with like, fuck you. No, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Me and the brand had a heart-to-heart conversation, and it was amicable. Like, they treated me well out the door. Like, so, and I still talk to them on and off. Like, so no love lost. It was just a very difficult time for all parties involved. But yeah, I didn't realize how bad it was till I was out.
It compounds over time.
Oh, it was insane.
Was it burnout?
It was 100%. It was burnout times everything else.
Because
Like,
burnout is real. Like
Yeah,
people
oh,
don't
no,
fucking
I was-
understand. Like burnout is real, right?
I was there
Like,
for four years up until then. Then the fifth year was
Yeah.
the tipping point, and it was just like no end in sight. It was just like I was drowning.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word, and it was just like maybe if I ever go into therapy, I can talk about it a little bit more depth. But like it was just not a good place.
Yeah.
Like I had a dog. I had to rehome my dog. It was just difficult. Like
Yeah.
because I could not manage myself, let alone
Care for something else.
care
Yeah.
for something else. And I'm very blessed. Like I had a incredibly dear friend. Like when the universe provides. And it sounds very eat, pray, love, guys, but I swear to God, it is what it is. Like this girlfriend of mine who I hadn't spoken to in years, like she heard that I was rehoming. She lost her dog in April. And I don't have a small dog. I had a bully mix. Like he's a big dog, 60 pounds. And she took him. And it was the perfect, like I was blessed. I was like, because I was never going to put him up for adoption. And I wasn't just going to like, so the fact that she came at that moment was like such a blessing.
For sure.
And it allowed, and she's thrilled with him. And I know that he's in a great home. But like these were all the little things.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was nuts. But to talk about things that happened, so these two events happened. And then the third event that happened, which was eye-opening for me, was like I told you about that friend that asked me to style on that shoot when he came back.
Yeah.
I've been styling for 20 years. When I got that project, he doesn't know this, so sorry, you don't know this, but in the back of my head, I was so overwhelmed and paralyzed by the project. And I was just like, what the fuck?
Was it the brief or like what?
Nothing. The project was not difficult. And I literally, that was my moment where I was just like, the last year, this is the psychological damage I'm suffering.
Right.
Because something that I could do with my eyes closed, I was literally questioning everything.
Like it was almost like
Can I do this? Why can't I do this? Oh my God,
Yeah.
this is what? This is this is that. Oh my God, like XYZ. And I was just like, Sharad, what the fuck?
When you're like that, does it show? Or are you good at internalizing all that?
Apparently I don't show shit. Like, so apparently I look like happy-go-lucky 24/7. So if anybody met me in that year of misery and I was not nice to you, I'm sorry. But like I was going through hell and I was just trying to breathe and make sure that I got to the next day. And that was like literally my year.
Yeah.
But when I took this gig, it was like, and that's when I realized that there was so much that I needed to just take time to figure it out.
Yeah.
But luckily, the faith, my parents, like rocks. And I just inched and I did little and little and I just got the ball rolling. Did the project. They all seemed happy. And I've gotten subsequent work from it. So obviously they don't hate me. So that's great. But yeah, that was like one of those moments.
Well, look at you now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still standing. I don't know if I'm thriving. Like, I'm thriving. Listen, I've got my health. I've got everything. I'm like, I've learned to just really enjoy
For sure.
every day for what it is, because I've been in that like dark hole, and I'm just like, all right, I just need to remember that, because today is better than that.
100%.
And that's all it needs to be.
Yeah.
And I've learned to just like take it one day at a time, and build on that and try to find momentum where I can.
Yeah.
That's
And as
incredible.
creatives, that's so important.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
firstly, like super happy that you are at this point
Yeah.
where you can be vulnerable with yourself, with others, and also know what is important to you.
Yeah.
The friends, the relationships, certain places, things that you like, how you enjoyed in your personal time, and what you're actually showing. And I think for us creatives, that's just so important to find that moment of balance, if you could even call it that, because in the agency world, creative space, but quite often, balance, especially as an entrepreneur, where do you draw the line in the sand, right? So I'm glad that you are at this stage where, like you said in your words, like you're thriving, or you're just enjoying and taking each day one day at a time.
I'm taking my first vacation since 2018, guys.
That's awesome.
I'm going to India next month, and it's my first vacation since 2018.
That's amazing.
Wow.
So that just is the mindset. And I'm
Yeah.
learning that, hey, a work trip isn't a vacation just because you're going to a different country,
sure, yeah.
which is what I used to equate my brain with. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I get to go to, Florence, and I get to go to London, and I get to go to New York, or I get to
Yeah.
go to LA. All great trips, but they were work trips. But in my brain, I was like, oh, just because I'm traveling, it's like, it scratched that itch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like the idea that I'm actually planning a trip, and I'm like, there's nothing attached to it, no
Yeah.
obligation other than me just making
Being.
the most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's
all right,
refreshing.
we're going to see what it is. My family's all in India, so that's why I'm going to go there. But yeah, so it's like, it's little things. Like, listen, I don't have a Rubik's Cube. I don't have anything sorted out. I'm like, I know my truth, and I'm just like trying to be as honest with myself as I can, knowing what I know about myself.
For sure.
And that comes with its pros and cons. Like, so it's just like knowing. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I think my girlfriend, she just did a podcast. She's like talks about finance, and she talks about frauds. Like, we live in a world where people are living beyond their means, and people are living these opulent lives, and obviously in social media and the way they present themselves in public makes you sometimes feel like, what the fuck did I do wrong? Like, how am I not there?
Yeah.
It messes with
Like,
you.
how are
Yeah.
you going this, that, and the
Yeah.
other? And I think you just need to find your own, like, do that,
Yeah.
and surround yourself with powerful friends that are like accountable and real.
Yeah.
And as cliched as that sounds, like, that's all you really need. And as long as you've got that, you will learn the coping mechanisms, and you'll build on them with experiences. Yeah.
And I find the rest just comes, like over the years, like for myself, we've had this conversation many times, like you go through phases in your life, like of friends, of groups, of circles, cliques, whatever you want to call them, and like different experiences in even the work world, right? Like you said,
100%.
like you've been at it for 20 years. I'm sure you've had many different circles, many different groups of friends, et cetera. But then you kind of also know in the back of your head, like, who's there for you?
Yeah.
Like really for you, right?
Yeah.
Not just like, the Nobis you, or the creative director you, or whatever you want to call it, designer, sorry. But you get the point. Like, we are human at the end of the day. And I think that it takes a lot to like realize that, and,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say to people, like, I won't say it in the way that I normally say it, because that could be controversial, but I choose to just flat out invest in people.
Yeah.
Right. Because I've worked with so many brands, and brands come and go. You are not relevant to any of them. It's literally about who you work with. And I'm like, I invest in people. I invest in showing up for the people that I care about, cultivating relationships. We've known each other for so long. We've never worked on a project together, but we've just always been good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when something arises like this podcast, you guys were kind enough to invite me over. It's like, that's all it is. Like, and funnily enough, like I will say that like, and this is no shade to my close friends. That's not what this is about. They like read me to filth. But to be very honest, in the opportunities that I've received have actually been from my like outer realm, outer circle.
Yeah.
And you realize that because it's like, not that my friends don't want the best for me or want to try, but it's sometimes like those people that have met you once and how you made them feel that are the ones, hey, like, oh shit, let me put your resume in front of this person, or let me put your name into this room.
For sure.
And like relationships, guys, like it's in a world that like I feel has become less about human contact and very digital and very kind of like at arm's length, or I don't want to take on your burdens and I don't want to take out your, like everybody's become very insular, which like just makes me ick a lot. And I'm very much the opposite. I'm like, I like people, and just being around people is just like
Yeah.
my kind of like input. And you just learn so much shit. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
that's it. So
And it shows, you know, like you, even at our event at Bump, you know, like people were flocking to you and like talking to you. And
I don't know why. Wait, was that the one where I was wearing the red shawl? Blame it on the red shawl. Maybe that's what it was.
maybe
Yeah,
it's a red
no,
shawl.
you were there. I know Justin came out.
Yeah.
It was a good event.
At Bump, we saw you like, you know, vibing with Milda's crew.
Yeah.
And then, you know, a couple months later, you had styled him, right? For that,
Oh, yeah.
for that shoot.
Yeah.
Which was dope. Like,
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
No?
No.
Yeah, I saw the
Steven's cover. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right. Yeah. So that turned out amazing.
It was, yeah. So Milda, I know because of quote unquote photo Will.
Yeah.
Who I've known from
Back
God
in the
knows
day.
friggin' like decades.
Yeah.
Another beautiful human that I've just fortunately been friends with for that long. So when Milda came on the scene, I was just always a fan. And I remember like going to his DJ sets like way back in the day.
Yeah.
When he first came onto the scene. And then it's just like, to be very honest, like I get so excited when I see people I know and my friends just like thriving.
Right.
Yeah.
So when they're at places, I'm there. If I can make it, I will 100% try to pull up
sure.
all the time. And that was the case on that day.
Yeah.
Like I knew that you were doing the event, so I was coming for you. And then I knew he was performing. I'm like, that's a double down. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just there.
Yeah.
And luckily I came with friends, but now I've also gotten to a place where I have no problem. I go alone.
Yeah.
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 Like I don't care to know what the guest list looks like or who's there, who's not there. Like if a friend has invited me, I couldn't care less
Yeah.
because I'm coming for them.
For sure.
Right. And if the vibe fizzles after a little while for me in that room or whatever,
Yeah.
I dip, but I'm coming for them. And that's all that matters to me now. Like, so I'm good. Like, I don't need to know your guest list. So that was the case of that event because he was there. And yeah, so Steven, I had introduced Milda to Steven like a long time ago because I was like, oh, you're going to love this DJ. We need to go to one nice parties. It was like purely just for us to go to a different place to go like listen to good music.
Yeah.
And then they formed a relationship just on digital and social. And then we started going. And so when the opportunity for his power list came up, he was like, he's the one who chose Milda for the cover. And I always help Steven. Like he's my best friend. And I'm like,
awesome.
It's like anytime he needs help. So I was just there to like help
That's
helping
awesome.
hand. And that's how it all came together. So Katrina, who's on the cover as well, also I've known for like decades. And I was just like so thrilled to see her get her flowers because she's done like insane things in this city.
Yeah.
And, you know, another incredible human for everything that she's done, her business, her team, like everything. So like, yeah. It's like connecting people is like what I love doing as well. So it's just like, hey, listen, you should know X, Y, and Z. Like, that's all.
That's what it's about, man. Like,
Yeah.
like, thank you for showing up always. Like, you've always, like, quite
I try
literally.
when I can. If I'm not there, there's usually a legitimate reason to why I can't be there.
sure.
But like, I definitely try.
No. Anytime like we need to jump on a call or just meet. Even the first time I met you, I think was on just like a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And I still remember at the end of the Zoom call, I was at another agency then. I think you were still at Nobis at that time. At the end of the call, you're just like, so what can I do for you? And I wasn't prepared for that question because in that moment, I realized I was like, oh, like, this is not just like an introduction type thing, but like, Sharad seems like he wants to connect me, or like ways to further explore this relationship that we're building, right? So, and now like, you know, we get to hang out in person. We're here on the pod. Like, you've shown support and love in so many different ways. That's what the community is about.
Good people. I think one thing, I don't know the age demographic of your audience, but I think this is applicable to a lot of people. I think a lot of people sit worried about, if I make an introduction, you might steal my relationship, or you might steal this. And you may not agree with me, you may disagree with me. My philosophy on that is, you can't steal anything from me, right? My relationship with you is my relationship with you. Now, if I introduce you to person B, right? What they do with that relationship is yours to manage, right? And if that comes with opportunities for the both of you or whatever, it's like my introduction doesn't jeopardize ever what I have with you.
Right.
And if it did, then that's just a reality check for me to know what my relationship was. Right?
Sure.
Like, so I'm not the kind of person that like, hey, listen, if there's somebody that I can help connect you with, I will make the introduction. What you make of that relationship is yours and not a reflection of me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I've tried to do with people that I know. So it's, I think a lot of people get caught up in that in this city. It's like, or I hear that a lot and I'm like, maybe I'm lucky, but I don't have a lived experience like that. Because my approach is like, hey, listen, like, sure. Me sharing a name is that's easy. Like, if I can make a connection, sure, I'll make the connection. Like, but there'll be a difference between making a connection and endorsement, right? Like, I think people need to realize that.
Yeah.
And that's just it. I think a lot of people could be way more inclusive rather than being stressed that, oh, you're going to steal my client, or you're going to steal my friendship, or you're going to steal this. I said, baby, it's not that serious. Like, honestly.
Yeah, like you said, just be a connector, be a catalyst for creativity. For
build community, guys. Like, that's it. Like, what
a
simple concept. You look at people on your Instagram accounts, and the ones that are the most genuine and the most popular are the ones that are building communities. They don't live in silos. They don't do things just for themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like, it's there. The writing is on the wall. Like, just
it's not that
go
hard.
out, meet new people, and be genuine, and just connect and make community. Like, whichever industry you're in, you can never have too much of that at all.
Right.
And I think people just need to like be more optimistic. I think people are just way too like, I don't know what they're worried about. Like,
it's very cutthroat in Toronto, or even just in Canada.
I was going to
More
say
so
but it
that.
seems like you guys say this, and maybe I'm oblivious. Maybe people have been cutthroat to me and I just don't see it. But like, I don't see that. Like,
Well, you're a likable person, though. Like, I feel like, you know, not to say that we're not. But like, you know, I think that, I don't know what it is, but I feel like people often, you know, find comfort in it. You know what I mean? They find comfort in being like, that's my competition. I'm not going to give them anything.
Or
You know what I mean?
screw these new kids on the block. Like, I'm not going to help them out. I'm not going to go to their event or whatever. Like,
you were talking about friends, right?
oh my God, I want to go to all the new kids' parties.
Yeah.
Maybe they just think I'm not relevant. I'm like, please invite me. And I actually have a couple of younger guys who are massive on social.
Yeah.
And they've been so generous. They're like, Sharad, like, I'm going to this. Do you want to come with us? Like,
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
me? You inviting me? I'm like, yes.
have to,
And it's
man.
like, and it's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. And it's, I don't know. I try to be as simplistic now as possible. Like, don't have time to carry the ego, the negative weight. Like, I just think it's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, just be nice. Like, what a friggin' concept.
It's not that hard.
But like, to be honest, I'm like, and I think it's made me completely oblivious to when somebody isn't, because it doesn't register.
Yeah.
Like, I've already moved on. Like, I'm not concerned about it.
You always just want to see the good in people. So that's just what you
and
project.
it's like, listen, I've had opportunities with brands that I'm like, I don't hear back from and I don't get jobs from. And I've got friends in those agencies, and a part of me, an old version of me, could have sat back and sulked in my stew of like, oh, like, what do they have against me? Like, why are they blackballing me? Like, I'm like, now that I've worked on both ends of the spectrum, there are a million things that happen in conversations and in brands and in agencies that you're not privy to.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah.
why am I going to take that burden, put it on myself, and question my self-worth
Right.
when I don't know? So
Yeah.
hey, listen, I didn't get the job done. Resume to
move
the
on to
next
the next
brand.
one.
Let's keep it moving.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
Don't have time to like.
That's the energy, man.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like
And that's what we've been moving on to.
that's
like,
it.
You know,
and you guys
we-
are doing stellar with it. Like holy shit. Like
Appreciate
last
it,
time
man.
we talked, like the amount of business that you guys have,
It's-
it's
yeah, it's
brilliant and it's great. And
Thank you.
just you're building on it, and that's all that like you can do.
Yeah.
It sounds
Yeah.
very
It's-
simplistic, but it does take a certain mental clarity to put your ego out of the equation. And life has given me those hardships where I'm blessed that now I can or catch myself when I'm getting in my feelings over something trivial.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, that's the big thing. It's not that I don't feel, it's that when I do, I'm very quick to nip it in the butt and be like, see it for what it is.
Yeah.
Like, listen, it's not happening to me, it's just happening.
Right.
And how I perceive it and how I choose to have it impact my life is my decision and my choice. And that's all it
Absolutely.
is.
Yeah. These are like really good insights that I think are that can be applied at any age for
Yeah.
anybody across not even just marketing or business or fashion, just like all industries. It's just like, sure, it comes with experience, perhaps even age or the tenors that you have with different brands and clients, et cetera. But these are like raw lessons from people that have been working 24/7 around the clock who are now saying like, take it day to
Yeah.
day, value relationships, go out, connect, build community. That's what it comes down to. If you could really distill it.
It's honest to goodness. Like I've been slapped in the face so many times, like by my own expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not by somebody else, like literally my own expectations.
So Sharad, at the end of every episode, we have a segment called Tagline Me, where we ask our guests
Yes.
a very simple prompt or a question, and we just
Okay.
want you to tagline very quickly, just your
Okay.
initial reaction in 1 to 2 words. All right?
You'll
very
be fine.
simple.
You'll do great.
Yeah. We're going to crush this.
Let's just go back and forth. One
Yeah,
after
let's
the
do
other.
it. You want to kick it off?
Sure.
Let me get zen.
What's Toronto's fashion vibe?
Struggling. You just want me to give one word answer?
Yeah,
Yeah,
one, two,
1, 2 words.
maybe 3.
Struggling.
Perfect.
Struggling. All right. Given the snowy weather right now, what's a must-have winter piece today for men?
A parka. Still,
Cool.
regardless of global warming. Invest in one, your life will be different.
A memorable runway moment.
Ooh, this is digging in the crates. It's not a one-word answer. It's Jesus. Context.
Yeah.
Toronto Fashion Week, when we used to have a Toronto Fashion Week in David Pickett Square, I styled, casted, and produced a runway show for a brand called Jesus, spelled GSUS. And it was the first all POC runway ever
Wow.
in this country.
That's a moment.
Wow.
That was digging in the crates. I totally
Yeah,
forgot about that.
love
but
that.
you made me remember.
Simu Liu.
Adventure.
That's interesting. I like that.
I'll do the last one. What's an influencer pet peeve? One word.
One word. Inauthenticity. What you see is not what you get.
Love that.
Yeah. Most of the times, like their persona on social media is chalk and cheese versus their persona in real life.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not the case here, is it? Ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Sharad.
Thank you.
Always appreciate the love and support, like we mentioned.
great first pod.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. This was super easy. Thank
Yeah.
you for having me.
Of course.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely have you back again. We'll chat more. We'd love to hear more about the projects, some of the people that you've styled and worked on.
Happy to.
Yeah, super excited for your journey to continue, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
See you on the next one.
Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.
Okay.